Like now, I don't want you to rap. Is what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
Look, I know you don't like the raps.
I don't want you to
don't
rap.
like the raps.
I'm just saying that the way you would approach a rap, you know the audience you're trying to talk to, and you would probably keep things on the ground.
This is where I lose the election right here.
How would you define being a democratic socialist? To just somebody that.
So you know some of my favorite songs, they start with an old quote.
Mm-hmm.
That's how a song might begin. And so for me, one of them is from Dr. King. Call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all people in this country, for all of God's children.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, to me, it's about dignity for each person. You know, the person who gave me this language of calling myself a democratic socialist is Bernie Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
When he ran in 2016 and his relentless focus on income inequality, it taught me that things could be better than they were. So often when you're voting, it feels like you're voting between somebody who wants to wipe you off the face of the earth and someone else who wants to tell you to celebrate the crumbs that can't feed your neighbors. And to know that it could be more, that you could be voting for something, that has inspired me. And I think that, you know, as a Muslim democratic socialist, I am used to bad PR and having to explain what all of these things mean. And what I've found, though, is when you actually get into a conversation, a lot of this is common sense, right? If I believe that every New Yorker should be able to live a dignified life and that it's city government's job to ensure that, New Yorkers will agree with me when I bring up the example of public education.
Free education,
mm-hmm.
free healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
I mean, anything that's necessary, right?
Stabilized rent.
It's like when people, whatever you need to live in this city, that should not be something you can be priced out of. And we agree with that when it comes to school. We agree with that with libraries, with sanitation, with the fire department. But there are certain things we've picked and chosen and said, you know what? You don't need that for housing. Or you know what? You don't need that for food. And I think that we can't let the market determine who gets to live that dignified life. This is not to say that it's city government's job to deal with everything, but for that which is necessary, we have to ensure that we are doing our part. And that's why I have said I'm going to freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, because that's the mayor's power. Mm-hmm. The last mayor did that 3 times. This mayor raised the rent 9%. He wants to raise it again up to 8%. We have these tools. It's just a question of, do we want to do this? And I know why politicians don't, because there's a lot of pressure. You know, I'm the candidate running to freeze the rent. Cuomo's the candidate running to raise the rent. That's why the landlords of those same units just gave Cuomo $2.5 million. The same landlords that say they don't have enough money to be able to freeze the rent just found $2.5 million to give it to him, the single largest check in this entire race. But it helps let people know that's what's on the ballot. It's straightforward. It's, do you want your rent to be the same, or do you want it to raise?